decreasing. Then it starts increasing. So it's increasing on the interval 0 to positive infinity and doesn't have any constant sections. Symmetry, it's symmetric to the y-axis. And relative max or min, it's got a relative min at 0, -2. Okay, so let's look at our probability here. A new company produces 15 cell phones known for unique design and abilities. At a push of a button, the phones can become invisible. Unfortunately, 4 are defective. That's out of the 15 prototypes that were made, and cannot disappear. You buy 7 of the new phones. What is the probability that you have bought exactly 3 that are defective? So, probability, we're going to have a numerator with 7, that we're going to buy 7 phones, and 7 blanks on the bottom as well. Let's go to the bottom first. There's no restriction there. So how many ways can I buy a phone with no restrictions? Well, there's 15 cell phones, then 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, and 9. However, up here, we recognize that we are going to buy 7, and we're wondering the probability of getting 3 that are defective. So these are defects, X, and these are non-defective. They're fine. So we recognize that there were only 4 that were defective. So how many ways can I buy a defective phone, and then how many ways, and then how many ways. But now when I jump the track to phones that are fine, I notice of the 15, 4 from 15 is 11, so there's 11 ways I could get one that is fine, and 10, and then 9, and then 8. So this would be complete, but I remember that this is one certain order, so this is the probability involving this is defective, 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 fine, 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 fine. But what if it was fine, 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 defective, defective, defective? So there's different arrangements that we have to count for that would also meet the requirement, and that would be a combination of 7 things, taking 3 at a time. And that is calculated 7 factorial over 7 minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. Alright, I think I don't have that answer, but I'll let you calculate it, and I can check that with you tomorrow so I don't use up so much video space, but that's the numbers. Alright, we'll finish out recalling an important part of our trig study was graphing sine, cosine, and tangent, and you will be required to do that. So sine is, I'll put in the tick marks, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Alright, so sine starts at 0, goes up to 1, and down to -1. So it goes up, peaks, down through pi, bottoms out at 3 pi over 2, and continues on like that. Alright, cosine starts at 1. I'll put that on here as well. I'll just make it darker. Bottoms out at pi, and peaks again at 2 pi. And continues in both directions likewise. Tangent, I'll sketch that again. It has an asymptote at negative pi over 2 and at pi over 2. And it is a snake, and it'll continue like that. Excuse me. Alright, sine, cosine, and tangent. Then our final for review for the final asks us to change some things about the sine. This tells me to change the amplitude. So instead of going up to 1 and down to 1, it's going to go up to 3 and down to 3. So I'll make one change at a time. Alright, sine normally goes up to 1 and down to 1, like that. 1 and minus 1. But that 3 means it'll go up to 3, so it's going to go all the way up to 3. Notice I haven't stretched it out or anything. I just went up to 3 and down to minus 3. Say this is minus 3. Alright, so this number we'll do last. So this number, we'll move it to the right pi over 2. So pi over 2 is one of these tick marks. So this whole thing, instead of starting here, it's going to start here. Going to peak. So we're moving everything over. So what I do is I move this point over, I move this point over, I move this point over, this point over, this point over, and then I connect them. So I move the whole thing to the right, pi over 2, and this 2 will move the whole thing up. So instead of this point will go up to, I'll put an X, this point will go up to, 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 and I'm going to connect all my X's up. Alright, so the last one I'll darken. Alright, so again, this number took it to the left, this one stretched out its amplitude, and this one caused it to raise up too. Let's do the same thing with cosine. So, try to make it a little more clear. Cosine normally goes up, I'll make it smaller, 1 to minus 1, so it's going to go like this. And here's my tick marks. Alright, now this 2, again, changes the amplitude. It's going to go up to 2 and down to minus 2, but the negative is going to flip it upside down. So it's going to go like this. You see I flipped the cosine and stretched the amplitude from negative 2 to 2. And this number here, which one do we like to do first? This one. That one will either shrink it up or stretch it out, and it has a relationship k equals 2 pi divided by the period. This is k. So we have 1/2 equals 2 pi divided by the period. Solve that for period, and you get period equals 4 pi. So I'm going to resketch that under here. So I'm going to take that graph and stretch it out. Here was 1 pi, 2 pi. I'm not going to stretch it out like that. I'm going to use a different scale down here. It wouldn't fit anyway. So I'm going to say this is 1 pi, this is 2 pi, this is 3 pi, and this is 4 pi. So I'm going to take this graph, say this goes up to 2 and down to minus 2. So, and it's upside down, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to stretch that out like this. So it's going to I'm figuring out where its cross is. Okay, got it. So it's going to go through here, peak here, come down here, and bottom out here. So now I've stretched it out to 4 pi. And the last thing, this 1 will just raise it up 1. So I'll take each of the important points and just raise them up 1 and connect them. So alright, that's it for our review. Those 50 will be options for to be on the final. One's just like those. And of those, I will pick 25. So I recommend studying them all. So good luck, and I am finished making videos for you. Who's happier, me or you? I'll give you a guess. Over and out, and class, with great distinction and honor, please carry on.